Hello, how are you all? Welcome to my channel Law Made Simple with me Vidya Reddy. Today in the series of Public International Law, let us learn into the very important topic United Nations Organization. During the Second World War, the establishment of General Organization of States for the purpose of safeguarding peace and promoting international cooperation was regarded as major object of the war. The United Nations came into existence on 24th of October 1945. The headquarters of it is located in New York. After the First World War, there was League of Nations, but it couldn't settle the international disputes peacefully, and there arose the Second World War also. So, to combat that, United Nations came into existence on 24th of October 1945. How? What are responsible for shaping this United Nations? The Atlantic Charter, the United Nations Declaration, the Moscow Declaration, Dumbarton Oaks Conference, Yalta Conference and San Francisco Conference, all these declarations led to the development or formation of United Nations Organization. What is the object of United Nations? The preamble states that we, the people of United Nations, are determined to save the succeeding generation from scourge of war, to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights and in the dignity and worth of human person, to reaffirm faith in the equal rights of men and women in all the nations, whether they are large or small, to establish conditions under which justice and respect for international law and international obligations can be maintained, to promote social progress and better standards of life and larger freedom, to unite our strength for maintaining international peace and security, to ensure that armed forces shall not be used, to employ international machinery for the promotion of economic and social advancement of all the people. These are the objectives led to the development of United Nations. Let us see the purpose of United Nations. To maintain international peace and security, to develop friendly relations amongst nations based on respect for the principle of equal rights, to achieve international cooperation in solving international problems of economic, social, cultural or humanitarian character, and in promoting and encouraging respect for human rights and for fundamental freedoms. To all these, we need certain purpose, and United Nations stands as a center in improving all these standards. What are the principles of United Nations? The sovereign equality of all members of organization. The members are under duties of peaceful settlement and of participation in the system of collective security and in enforcement of peace. The members have mutual benefits and obligations under the UN Charter. The organization can intervene in the actions of non-member states also to the extent it is necessary for the maintenance of international peace and security, and matters of domestic jurisdiction are completely excluded from the sphere and intervention of United Nations Organization. The organs of United Nations. We have 6 principal organs of the United Nations. One is General Assembly, Security Council, Economic and Social Council, International Court of Justice, Secretariat and Trusteeship Council. And other than this, we have specialized agencies and non-specialized agencies also. The main principal organ is General Assembly. The General Assembly consists of all members of the United Nations. This is the main principal organ of the United Nations, and it consists of all members. In this organ, each member has 1 vote and 5 representatives, and it meets regularly once a year and can meet in a special sessions or special organizations if summoned by Secretary General. What are the functions and powers of the General Assembly? As it is the main principal organ of the United Nations, the powers and discussions and the recommendation in general to the maintenance of international peace and security, the direction and supervision of international economic and social cooperation, the supervision of international trusteeship system, consideration of information as to non-self-governing territories, budgetary and financial powers whereby it has exclusive control over the finances of the United Nations, and it has the power of admitting, suspending and expelling member states. It has power in relation to the adoption of amendments to the Charter, the election of the members of all the organs, the receipt and consideration of reports on the work of United Nations, the adoption of international conventions. All these are some of the functions and powers of the General Assembly. Next is the Security Council. The Security Council is continuously functioning body consisting of 15 member states, and we have 5 permanent states. They are China, France, Russia, Great Britain and United States, and the remaining 10 are non-permanent states, and these states are non-permanent states are elected for 2 years by the General Assembly. The functions and powers of this Security Council. Powers and functions regarding Pacific settlement of disputes, and regarding the action with respect to threat to the peace and breaches of peace and kind of aggression acts, and some other executive powers regarding the work of United Nations. The Economic and Social Council. This Economic and Social Council consists of 27 members elected by the General Assembly, and the members retire by rotation and are elected for a term of 5 years, and it has the power to furnish information to the Security Council, and under Article 66 it can perform the services with the approval of General Assembly, and it is an instrument for the establishment of international peace through amelioration of the people in the world in all aspects. Next is the Secretariat. As per Article 7 of the UN Charter, it is another principal organ where the General Assembly, on recommendation to the Security Council, the Secretary General, who is the Chief Administrative Office of the United Nations, and in that capacity he attends all the meetings to the organs of the United Nations and executes all functions assigned to him by the UNO. Secretary General prepares the annual report and submits the same to the General Assembly, and the General Assembly will have the annual session by submitting the report. Next comes the International Court of Justice. It is also one of the principal organs, and it comprises 15 judges, and they will be in the office for a term of 9 years, and every 1/3 of the judges will be retiring every 3 years. The International Court of Justice is open to all states, and states will only be the parties before it, and in broad sense the jurisdiction is of two kinds: voluntary or contentious jurisdiction and advisory jurisdiction. Next comes the sixth one, which is Trusteeship Council. It comprises those permanent members. What are the permanent members? China, France, Russia, Great Britain and USA. These permanent members who are not administering the trust territories, and also those members that are administering trust territories, and other members that are elected for 3 years by the General Assembly. And each of these members possess one vote and takes decisions which are majority, and that vote is by present and voting system. And this Trusteeship Council functions under the control and authority of the General Assembly only, and it is empowered to check and verify the report submitted, and it also has the power to provide for periodic visits of the representative territories to take any other necessary action in terms of trusteeship agreements. Now, as a matter of Trusteeship Council, it has no much job, because of the fact that time to time number of trust territories are being decreased. So in a conclusion, we can say that United Nations organizations, which is established under the UN Charter of 1945, is really indispensable and very much important to achieve international peace and security and overall development of all the individual states in the world, provided the norms prescribed under UN Charter are strictly adhered thereto. And this United Nations organization is day and night working hard in establishing international peace and security.